Hello guys, Ryan Ho back with another video. Today we have the Lofree mouse. This is another competitive gaming mouse that has 8K polling. It has a unique shape that's a little bit different from other mouses. It has a magnesium alloy inside kind of structure to keep the mouse kind of nice and secure. This mouse doesn't feel as, I guess, metally and I guess cold feeling because it's made of plastic versus these metal mouses I have over here. But I think it's a very cool, unique shape and a unique looking mouse. It's also really lightweight at 50 grams. So if you're looking for a lightweight mouse, this also has that. This thing uses the top tier specs that you expect nowadays. So like the 3950 sensor, which is, capable of the 8K polling and everything like that. And this thing also has web-based software, which everyone likes. You don't have to download any software and you can just use it on your browser. So that's really nice that it's included in here. And of course, I feel like the most unique thing about this is definitely the shape, right? I feel like this actually looks very unique, but it actually feels like a normal mouse with some, I guess bigger side button flare, a little bit thinner on the front, as you can see, because it kind of reminds me more of like using a pencil in a sense, because your fingers are closer together rather than kind of wider apart. And then of course this scroll wheel is a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, but I had no issues accessing it. So I feel like the shape of this is probably where it's the most unique and where I'm gonna focus a lot on. All right, so let's talk about the shape of the mouse, right? So overall, this is a very egg-shaped type of mouse. You can see it's thinner in the back and thinner in the front. And the Razer Viper V3 Pro, a standard kind of big box Razer type of mouse, is a lot thicker in the back and thicker in the front. So this one reminds me of like holding a pencil more because, it's a lot thinner. So when your hands are kind of clenching it, I don't feel like it's pushing my fingers as wide apart as on something like the Razer. And the other thing that I noticed about this mouse is, if you see this like hole in the middle, when you're actually holding the mouse, it's not actually an issue at all, right? Because when you're holding it, your hands are claw gripping it and you don't really touch the middle. So this actual gap is more for aesthetic reasons. You don't actually feel the hole. And even the sides, like you see these kind of grooves out here, like when you grab a mouse, you don't really grab on those sides. So honestly, they add kind of aesthetic flair, but they don't actually influence the way you hold the mouse. It just feels like I'm holding a solid mouse. So I think that part is actually really interesting. I think the other thing about this mouse is if you kind of take a look at the back, you can definitely tell that like the Razer Viper V3 Pro has a lot more palm support, while this one's definitely a claw grip mouse because you're not really getting much palm support right here. It's a very kind of low hump. And so really this is definitely a claw grip type of mouse, right? Like you kind of push it against your hand and it's not really kind of being supported by the hump. So yeah, when it comes to like the side buttons, something I do notice is that I feel like the Hypace like side buttons are really like big. They protrude out a lot. I mean, I think that's something that you're just instantly gonna notice, that how far they kind of come out. You're definitely gonna feel them. I hear some people actually kind of complain that they can't find their side buttons when they're using their mouse. I've never actually had that issue, but for this mouse, you're definitely going to be easily, pushing each one. And because there's a gap between them, you're not going to get confused with this. So let's go to the actual feel of this mouse and how it sounds. So these have mechanical switches and we can do kind of a sound test. So overall, I have no issues with the click. These mechanical switches are very clicky. They, push really easily. I don't really have any pre or post travel. They don't feel sticky at all. They're honestly really high quality. The scroll wheel is very easy to move, but you can actually feel all the little steps that it has as well. So I feel like it actually is very well defined. So it's easy to move, but you can still feel every groove, right? Now the side buttons for me, they're definitely clicky, easy spam. They're actually, they don't have much pre or post travel. I mean, you can see they instantly snap in and snap out. If you want the most defined steps on the side buttons, these are easily the easiest ones to push. And then if we kind of go to the bottom of the mouse, you can actually see that it has Bluetooth mode off and then 2.4 gigahertz. So you can use this wired 2.4 wireless, which is what I recommend. But they also put in Bluetooth for people who want to use it and have, a variety of uses. You can also connect it to 2 different devices at the same time. And then you also have a button that you can kind of map for like something like DPI or something right there. So this mouse definitely has it all. And this mouse actually didn't have, the feet installed when it came in, but I had to install the feet myself. And that kind of influences the weight. Obviously, a lot of companies like to kind of, rate their weight as lower than it is without the mouse feet, but this is the actual weight with the mouse feet inside. So right now we're getting about 48 grams for this mouse, so it's pretty lightweight. You know, something like my Razer mouse is 55 grams, so it's a little bit heavier. And then, you know, something like the final mouse is going to be even lighter at like 38 grams. So this one kind of meets in the middle. It's still lighter than a standard, I guess, more popular Razer mouse, but it's not going to be one of the lightest things on the market. I think most of that is probably due to the fact that they put a Bluetooth, you know, receiver in there, and they have probably the structure on the inside as well as the kind of unique shape on the outside. But honestly, it's a very light mouse. I have no complaints about the weight. So I mean, some of the comparison to like another, I guess, space mouse, I recently reviewed the Gravistar Mercury X. This thing is all magnesium alloy. It actually has this plastic structure on the inside that actually protects the internals from, I guess, water damage. But I think between these two space mouses, you can tell that a lot of these unique and space inspired mouses are kind of coming out, and I feel like they're honestly really cool to see on the market. I do think the Lofree, because of its kind of shape, it feels less holy and like doesn't have these like alien curves that the Mercury X has. So I think the Lofree is a much more comfortable mouse for a lot of people just because it has the kind of solid shell type of design. And I think the shape is a little bit more unique as well because it's, like I said, it's thinner, more like a pencil on the front and the back. But yeah, I think the Lofree definitely gives you a little bit more control and kind of more comfortable grip. The Mercury X is definitely, you know, more unique with its kind of holy mouse type of shape. So the Lofree comes with this dongle right here, and you know, it kind of changes lights. You can adjust the light. It is a pretty big dongle compared to something like a Logitech mouse or something like the Razer mouses. So these are a bigger dongle, but they add some extra type of RGB type of stuff on there if you want to see that. So how does it perform in games? So I've been playing a lot more Marvel Rivals, but I've also kind of pulled up Valorant just to test it. But the 8K polling this is very snappy, very responsive. Out of the box, it actually, you know, came with 1K, and I could definitely feel how slow that felt till I used the web-based software and put on 8K, and it just responds so much more snappier. Like, I don't understand how people can use 1K anymore with 8K out there. It's just a lot snappier experience. Now, obviously, I have a 360 hertz and a 240 hertz monitor, so it does definitely help to have a high refresh rate monitor, but really in games, I definitely felt how snappy this mouse is. I felt like I do have to get kind of used to the new, I guess, thinner size of this mouse. And I feel like these feet are very slippery, they're very agile. So for the control of the mouse, I definitely had to get used to it a little bit, but it's not really that much of an adjustment. And I feel like, you know, the type of grip we're getting with this is a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, so when I think about this mouse, it's like holding a pencil, right? Because really, when you're holding a pencil, it's much more like, I guess, focus. We're able to draw, we're able to write, we're able to cursive. I feel like this brings my fingers closer together, and I feel like in a sense it is actually very helpful in, I guess, controlling the mouse. I actually do like a thinner kind of front on the mouse. I do think it's honestly a little bit more comfortable, and I feel like I have a little bit better control. So I think this type of shape might actually kind of catch on and be popular. Hopefully more companies try a thinner front shape. I really do enjoy that. The back itself, I feel like if you have a claw grip, the actual back of a mouse doesn't matter that much to you because literally their hand just kind of holds on the back of it and claws it. So I really have no issues with that. But yeah, when it comes to gaming, I can honestly play really well, shoot really well in both Marvel Rivals and Valorant. So I had no issues with this. I think for a lot of people, this is very different from what, you know, other things on the market. And I feel like it's honestly a very comfortable mouse. I definitely recommend people to try it. Honestly, I think it's on sale right now when they're releasing it for like 100, 120, somewhere around there. So it's a lot cheaper than, you know, a standard $160 mouse like these Razers or any of these above here, as these are also 160. I think this one is about the same though, around 120. So price wise, this isn't hitting the upper echelons of, you know, the $160. So in that sense, you're getting a 8K polling mouse for not, you know, top tier pricing, which is nice to see, especially for it being a more unique product. So in the end, where does this leave us? So I think the Lofree mouse is honestly a very, very fun mouse. I'm probably gonna keep using it after this. I actually do enjoy it. I would say the side buttons may be the one part where people might have a little bit contention if they like how big they are. And the placement does feel a little bit taller and a little bit higher, but honestly, it's not that big of a difference. But honestly, it's a pretty fun mouse to try, and I think it's pretty cool. It's probably the most unique thing I've seen so far, honestly. I think Lofree is also the company that made some like keyboard mouse that you can like swap the keys. I think they're very like innovative in the sense of they think differently about the design, those type of aspect of a mouse. But yeah, I definitely recommend a Lofree if you guys are interested. I'll leave links down in the description below. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Check out my other reviews of like this kind of Space Mercury mouse. You know, we have the top tier final mouse reviews, and as well as, you know, the standard Razer and Logitech reviews.